Hi there, my name is Jessica Drossin, and today I'm going to just show you another demonstration and an edit using the new JD Autumn Tones, sets 1 and 2. Set 1 again is for Creative Cloud subscription-based users. It will not work with older versions of Photoshop or Elements. Set 2, however, will work with older version of Photoshop or Creative Suite and Photoshop Elements. So that's, and they both work quite nicely together, and I'm going to sort of show you how they would work together in another quick edit from this same session with the adorable little Jenna. So here's our starting image, and I've already loaded in, what I've done here is I went here to the Audition All Instant Adjustments, and it basically called up every single one of set 1's actions. And that will allow me to preview. And then once I've made my decision, I'll just delete the other action sets, rather folders, out of my layers panel. But I want to show you on this one what these tones will look like, because depending on your green and your basically your color balance, etc., these actions will look a little different across different images. So I'm going to show you another kind of companion image to the one that I already put up, and we'll just do a quick edit of it. So as I mentioned, these are just little bonus adjustments. Later we'll get back to these contrast adjustments and brighten tones, deepen tones, and perhaps the paint back skin tones later. But right now we're going to just start with Augusta, and there's Augusta. I could just paint into this mask if I wanted to reduce any of these effects straight off the board, or I could paint here into my skin tones. It would also allow me to paint back some of these green tones just wherever I'm painting in. But for right now, I'm not going to deal with painting back any of the skin tones or any of the green tones. I am just going to show you what these edits look like straight out of the audition. So again, here is Augusta, here is Bold Autumn, here's Cedar, Chocolate Brownie, Early Autumn, Golden Wheat, Harvest, Honey Autumn, Muted Autumn, Olive, Orange Butter, Orange Crush, Perfect Fall, Rosewood, Russet, Scarlet Autumn, Summer's End, Sweet November, Vermilion, and lastly, Walnut. I think when we were going through, I kind of like the way that Bold Autumn looks. So I'm going to go with Bold Autumn here. And again, if I wanted to, I could mix and match. I could lower the overall opacity if I wanted to. I could add another overlay like Scarlet Autumn in here, and maybe change the effects a little bit. Let's see, if I lower this to 70%, and then I'm going to turn on Scarlet Autumn, and you can see we're playing with the tones a little, so you can make your own custom autumn tones if you so desire. But I'm going to take this back to Bold Autumn at 100%. You could also go into these folders, and you can make your own adjustments, turning things on and off as you wish, to really customize these. But this is, again, just what it looks like when it comes up. Now on this particular image, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little more contrast. So I'm going to click this little eyeball on here for contrast adjustment. And if I want more, I'm simply going to increase my opacity. But that's a little much for me. So I'm going to go back here to basically I think the default was set at 15%. So I'm going to take it back to the default. And I'm going to try the deepened tones just a little bit as well. And maybe I'm going to mask out a little bit of this deeper tone just on her face and her hands. So just a little bit on her skin tones here. And again, I like to gauge and blur after I do something like that. Just sort of makes it a little softer. So you can see I used a soft brush, but when I gauge and blur in here, it just softens it up even more. So anyway, there is my deeper tones. Oops, I think I used my brush that's for my leaves. So let me just quickly put in a non-leaf brush. I'll show you the leaf brush here in a second. Just taking out a little bit of my deeper tones in a couple of these little spots where I don't want it to have as much. All right, so now I like how this is looking. I want to add a little more warmth, a little more reddish tone, I think. So I'm going to go here to my overlays. And, well, actually, before I do that, just so this file doesn't become huge, I'm going to say delete the hidden layers. So I'm going to get rid of all of those instant adjustments from set 1 that I am not going to be using. And now I'm going to audition from set 2 the instant overlays that are fall inspired. So we're going to get those going right now. And again, the plus of using the auditions is you can quickly preview all of the actions and what they do. The minus is that you have to wait for a little bit, and with set 1 you might have to wait a little while, but when you consider that it's trying to give you 20 edits, just give it its little time to cycle through, particularly if you don't have a lot of RAM on your machine. But this should be finished here fairly quickly here with these overlays. Okay, and now I'm just going to turn them on and see which work for me. Okay, I like how Acorn is looking. I like Autumn Wine a lot because it's giving me a little more of those red tones that I want, and it's brightening this top area a bit. Berry Fall. Candy Bar is adding a lot of drama, which I actually like quite a bit too. However, I think I'm going to get rid of some of it on her face because, again, it's just darkening a little too much. Whoops. I did way too much on there, so I'm going to go ahead and just start over by filling that with white. And I'm going to bring that opacity way down. So now when I'm painting in here, I'm not going to remove all of those tones, which obviously didn't look so red hot. I'm just taking out a little bit of those tones by painting with black, into my mask area. Okay. So that was Candy Bar. Eggplant, also I like. Fall Sunset, maybe a little too colorful. Good Gravy, Mossy, Old Oak, Plum, and Sandalwood. I like Sandalwood a lot here too. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Candy Bar and I'm going to try hitting Autumn Wine as well. I'm going to lower Candy Bar just a little bit. And I'm going to increase Autumn Wine a little bit. All right, so I'm kind of just balancing these tones how I like them. This looks pretty good to me. And then what I'm going to do here is, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I would paint in with the paints from set 2. Let's try a little golden glitter paint. And so I'm going to run this action. And now I alluded to the paintbrush. There's a special brush for painting into these leaves. And I've already loaded it. There's instructions in the tutorial on how to load yours. But what this is going to help me do is it's going to allow me to sort of scatter my brush strokes a little bit so that you're not seeing lines where I'm coloring into these leaves. So let's see here. I'm going to make sure that the mask is selected. Let's bring up my opacity here a little bit. Oops, and make sure that I'm painting with my white. Sorry, it's been a long day. So let me bring down the opacity just a little bit, make my brush a little bit larger. And I'm just going to softly go into a couple of these little areas. And I'm going to change my brush size. It's just adding a little more color diversity. I'm going to go into that layer again and I am going to blur it because my trees are all blurred, so I want my my adjustment on top of them to also be a little bit blurred. And let's see, I'm going to do the same thing with, let's do mulberry. Let's add a little more red tone in there. Okay. And again, hitting Gaussian blur inside of the mask. Maybe I want to reduce the opacity just a little bit on both of these guys. I want that to be kind of a subtle effect. Now I'm going to go down here to my sun flare. This is something new, and obviously that doesn't look so red hot, so we're going to get our move tool here, and we are going to just bring this up a little bit. And if we wanted to, we could reduce the opacity. We could even change the blending mode. And now I'm going to give her something. When I did this, when I created this image, I sort of wanted to add in a leaf later. So I'm just going to pull up a leaf overlay here from the leaf overlay set. And I just said select all, copy, and now I am going to paste that in. Obviously it's a little on the huge side, so I'm going to make it smaller. Now obviously this leaf overlay is already brown, so I am not going to, I did not, run it. I recommend getting your colors sort of balanced, your image sort of balanced before you run these overlays. If you've got funky casts or anything like that going on, you might want to just change those, or shadows. Do all of your sort of foundation edits and then lay on these overlays, or rather than lay on these actions and overlays. If you're going to be adding the leaves and you're changing the colors from green into the fall tones, I would wait and add these leaves after the fact, like I'm doing, simply because they're already not green. So now they will match. And this looks about the right size, so I'm selecting that, I'm hitting OK. I'm going to make a little mask, and I am going to just delicately paint out where that leaf is intersecting with her fingers. Let me just even bring it down a little bit more. There we go. Oops, don't be like me. Remember to take it off of the leaf brush once you're doing any little edits like this, because it was bouncing around all over the place. All right, so here we go. We've got our leaves all masked like we want it to be. And now we're going to put it back on the screen. And the last thing I'm going to do here, I think, is just hit the sharpening. That's built in just so that you can hopefully do most of your edit right here within this set. And so we've just sharpened it a little bit. And now let's add a little fall pop. And I'm going to lower this opacity. I'm going to just put a teeny bit of fall pop right here on her little cheeks, just to give them a little more rosiness. Whoops. And I should have mentioned right off the fact to do that with a white brush, because we are going to paint in this effect. So using a soft white brush, I've set mine to about 10%. I'm adding just a teensy little bit on her cheeks, maybe even a little less. I'm going to go into 5%. Just adding a little bit on her cheeks and on her lips. And here on the leaf itself. Maybe just a little bit on the hair. Okay. And let's see here now. I'm going to increase the opacity, and we'll just sort of go into a couple of these little areas and see what happens. We add a little bit more fall saturation. It's a powerful adjustment, so I keep it set pretty low, and then we'll just keep painting over it if I want it to be more noticeable. I could be using my leaf brush here for these. It would actually probably work a little bit better over the leaf areas, but I kind of just want to get this finished for y'all and move on. I'm going to again hit the blur, Gaussian blur. Make sure that's nice and soft. And here we go. So I think this is going to be my final edit. I'm going to delete all of the layers that I didn't use. And let me just peek what it would look like if I increase the warmth. Oh, that's kind of pretty. I think I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go ahead and increase the warmth right there. So let me just add those there. I thought I deleted all the hidden layers. Okay, so this is the edit, and this is the before. So hopefully that was helpful. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks so much. And these will become available on Thursday, September the 17th, I think? No, Thursday, September the 19th. I could still be wrong on that. I'm not very good with dates. But anyway, it'll be up on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. All right, bye-bye.